These are examples of origami. Origami is the art of paper folding. The Japanese words ori means folding and gami means paper. Traditional origami folding uses a single sheet of square paper, and it is formed into a sculpture without any cutting, no gluing, no taping, or putting a mark on it. Each step that I show you how to do is also here as an example. And this is often what I do when I'm putting it away for a while and get back to it and want to refresh myself about the steps. It's a good way to show other people also. There are actually about 10 steps, and I will read the directions from a paper that's available to you, where the directions are printed. As I demonstrate the folds, I will read the directions too, because both the picture images on the directions and the words are equally important. Some people try to interpret the picture, and it helps to have the words. The last 3 or 4 steps are the most tricky, but they are, with patience, you can learn them, and then as you do them more than one time, they become kind of automatic to you. I did mention already that square paper is needed for these folded paper origamis. One way to achieve a square piece of paper is to use 8.5 by 11 copy paper, fold the corner over so that this point is creased precisely in half. Run your finger over the fold there, crease it sharply, and then with scissors, this is not the folding part, this is just preparing the paper, cut that off so that you then have an actual square. That means you don't want any leftover pieces showing on either side. However, printed papers, commercial origami papers, are often available, and they are also attractive and add a lot of character and personality to your sculptures, your origami cranes in this instance. After you have a square paper, you should turn it so that there are points up and at the bottom and to the left and the right. You will be creasing sharply every time and trying to line up the edges very precisely. In this first step, you make a triangle. If by the way, you had patterned paper, this is important, you would start with the pattern up. In this case, we're using paper that is the same color. After each step is explained and shown to you, I will fold one for you without so many comments and with the paper patterned on one side. I have folded this paper into a triangle, and then I open it up and make another triangle on the same side is needed now. And actually, the kind of fold is called a valley. This is a valley. You see the valley? The lines that go down into the paper, seemingly. The next step is to turn the paper over or flip it over so that you have the appearance of mountains that are up. Okay? We had valleys on the first side that crossed in the center and turn it over. Then we have the mountains on the top. You will divide this mountain side in half. I think a lot of children learn to say this like the hot dog bun fold. You will make a long, wide, rather rectangle, and turn it then to repeat that. The same side that you just had inside remains inside, and the next fold into rectangle will be a mountain fold on the same side as that first mountain fold. Now this is fun. It automatically wants to collapse with a little encouragement from your fingers. Do this, squeezing it together, and flatten it so that there are two parts, equal parts on each side. That is the first step. Crease the edges very, very carefully. Look at the bottom where the points are. Take time to kind of nudge them into really good alignment so that they meet at the point. Okay. Now, as you move the paper, the folds that you've made sometimes get a little rearranged slightly, and so you need to constantly reinforce them. You'll feel the paper's a little puffy, and so just reinforce them, even those that are underneath the paper. You will now want to have this in front of you. The top, those edges are closed folds. The bottom, the edges are open. Okay, and the open edges point toward you. On one side, fold one section of the bottom. I call that a diagonal fold, holding down the tip so that it's sharp against the point at the bottom. Fold that diagonal fold so that it comes to almost meet the fold in your first part. That's kind of your goal, to get it maybe a 1/16 of an inch or a little more away from that fold, like this. You will then fold the other side the same way. You will make a diagonal fold beginning at the point on the bottom and line it up against the earliest fold you made, and this is how it looks right now. Then you will flip it over, and you will repeat the right fold and the diagonal fold and the left diagonal fold in the same way. And by the way, again, kind of nudge it if you think it's a little bit off. Nudge it so that the points are close, and reinforce all folds as you go. This one's coming around just like the other side did, from the point moving up, and then the other side becomes a duplicate fold like the other side of the piece, and kind of matches this one. So you have this, and the other side you have this. Okay. It resembles the shape of some kites now, a kite. The top part is a triangle that folds down. The point meets this center, and you crease that as well. You bring the fold down like that. Okay? Now, the next step, you're going to unfold everything Fold it over here and unfold it as well. Turn it over and unfold it. Because these parts that have the creases, we're going to tuck them inside like this. The lines of your earlier folds will guide that. Goes inside. This one does the same thing. Goes inside. So now one side looks like this, and we match it with the other side. Folding on that crease that you made with diagonals, you fold it in. Give it time to kind of settle into its sort of natural, natural place. One reason that reinforcing all your folds is helpful is that the next fold, which builds on top of what you've already done, kind of takes shape, leaning and resting against the earlier folds. So I'm still turning inside what we had called the diagonal fold, and I'm almost finished with that. Now, here is what it looks like. And we lay it down flat again. Again, it looks a lot like a kite, some kite shapes. Line up the edges and the tip as best you can and reinforce everything. The tip of your fingernail helps a lot. Okay. Then you will pull this section up. Fold that part up, flip it over, and the corresponding part in the back or the other side, fold that up as well. Now, I'm going to try to smooth these a little tighter and sharper. What you will see is in the middle, that triangle that a while ago you folded down, that is in the middle, and the bottom has a split between those two parts. Okay? This piece now has the triangle in the middle, as I mentioned, and two loose pieces that have a split between them. And it's going to require that we fold one part, beginning again at the point, fold one of the bottom points to the center of the body on the front. I always start at the bottom with the point, and this is how it looks. We do one on the other side, lifting up just this half of that side. Start at the bottom point, crease it so that it's as pointy as you can get it to be, and then bring this up, and we have these, and we'll duplicate them on the other side, calling it the back. If you hold the bottom down and kind of pull against the pressure at the bottom, it helps that to lie down flat and nice. The same on this side. This part and the next couple of stages or steps, they're the trickiest. So you've done the main part of the origami so far. Here's how we look right now. It doesn't matter which side now you work with because they're the same on both sides. You're going to lift one of these up, and you kind of have a suggested fold there. You're going to lift one of these up. I like to lay it against that line. And you see how I'm reinforcing all those folds? Do the same thing over here. Bring that part up. Alright, here we are. Alright. Now, this part, we are going to open up the side, and even though this had a valley in it, we're going to bring it up here and make another valley. We're going to lift it up, and it gets tucked inside. Actually, these are the wing parts. It gets tucked inside there, and gets hidden for a short time inside there, like that. So now you can see we're getting real close to just having a head and a tail. Here we have the same thing on this side, the left side. Open it up. What we have is a valley, but we're going to reverse that valley. I'm going to bring it up in there and close it between the wing parts, and then maybe just pull it out a little bit like that. Now, this is a wing, and we'll pull it down, crease it. The other wing gets pulled down on this side. Line up the points and reinforce all the folds. And to make the head, kind of pinch one of these and then fold it down so that it kind of shows almost like a triangle part. And there's the head and the beak of the crane. This is the tail. And when you open it up and tug at the wings, the body pulls apart, and it looks like the crane. The bottom, if you kind of spread them apart a little bit, it stands up nicely. Often they are hung with a thread going up through, and they like to be displayed flying from a string. I'm going to fold a printed on one side paper, and I'm not going to say much. Just go through all the steps fairly quickly. Valley folds here inside. Turning the paper over, flipping it, making the rectangles or hot dog bun folds. Collapsing it like so, lining up the bottom, bringing the diagonal from the tip, lining it up at the center, flipping it over. Bring down the triangle. And fold, tuck in these loose folds here. There I am now. Lift this up, turn it over, do the same thing. triangles in the middle round. The only reason I can do this so smoothly, for the most part, is that I've made many of these, more than 1,000. And I think I have some muscle memory, brain memory or something. Okay, we're getting down to the final. Reverse this. Okay, bring the wing down. Put the head down. And here we have our origami crane.